Okay. All right. We're starting this hour. First of all, shalom to you all from Zaranistan. So happy to be here. I'm so honored to be here this year as a host. I've previously been a reader, and it's such a wonderful New York City tradition. I've usually been up here, having meditations about my mom and like my abortion or something, and now I'm honored to listen to you all write poems about your moms and your abortions. So our first reader is a he/him by the name of Sky Hopinka. Sky Hopinka is an artist and a filmmaker whose work weaves indigenous history, personal cosmologies, and experimental forms into moving image and photographic practice. So let's welcome Sky Hopinka.
Hello. It's nice to be here. This is a new poem that I'm working on, and sometimes you just want to write a poem that rhymes, I'm all tangled in the spaces between places. I'm all tangled in the many yous that I knew, and I'm tangled in bed with everything and every sheet worn through, with sweat and the dew of mornings falling every little spell of a way, little spell of a time, little spell of a drive, the spell of an evening and midday that's mine. One day fine enough for me and fine for the kind of way when I thought it was through the hands that you have and the steps that you heard, carrying you. You who walk with those voices on your ears, you who walk with those eyes on your thoughts, and you who walk with those berries at your feet, how you'll feel them through the soles of your mocks, and you feel them spilling over the top of everything that they mean, and the shoes that you don't use. Your skins are too soft for this kind of hot, the kind of hot heat that burns when you're walking around the Valley of Three, taking everything you can with you in your car, sitting in your garage, in the place in your bones that you can't feel that far. Vortex of bones and light that lead the way through these hills, back to the springs and the canyon light igniting the way. Lighter than dusk on late summer day, when the friends that you made are playing away, forgetting the dumb daily bread of eating the young, you think to yourself, why is it so hard to stay quiet in the midst of a run on time, a run in the dry wash, a run on the pain of another one gone. Your sister is back, you found her again. She's taken of herself amongst all the dead. They stand behind, or above or below, looking over your shoulder, wondering where will you go. Gone again down to the parking lot lit bright with the flickering street lamps and a warm wash of light. A yellow harsh hue that you miss because it's off. You think of the time when the street was so soft on a late August walk, with the heat looking down, cooling the heat from below until it's all gone, under the pavement so soft, under the steps of your feet, as you look up beyond and wonder, when will we meet? You dances at dawn with your grandson you're teaching, the spins and the ducks and the dives and the sweat, the lightest of grins with the dance staff waving. He carries the dead and the pipe pouch you gave him, held in his hand with your fan you passed down, gripping the handle you wrapped in old leather. The golden fan of a golden eagle feathers you got from that old man Richard who's gone, Richard from Talaga, Richard the carver, Richard beloved and lost. You held him close when you were both so young, just children at heart, young skins browning under the sun. But you're both older than then. You're both older than when. You fell out of kindness of who you couldn't see. You missed that old time and you missed your long walks that happened till 4 o'clock. In the morning again. It is morning again. And we're morning again the way things used to be. Used to be for who? Who knows what you've done? Who you were and who were you? Who remembers you still at this point in life? That list is so small. Small for the time, and small for the brain, and small for the heart, again and again. So you drink your drinks and you breathe your smokes that burn nice and cool and smooth and morose, and the moist dark tobacco you kept in your pouch calls out again once for a prayer that masked out. One more prayer for the moment, one more for the kin that you've had, and the kin that you've made, and the kin that you've lost, and the kin that you'll make, and the kin that are dead, and the kin that will be, born under a newness found once we say goodbye to this land, and these rivers and dirt and these lakes that have all dried up, that are cracked and flaking, that are crumbling under the heat and the feet of proselytizing priests, stained red with the berries you crushed once before, on a long night saddled up like this, reminders of every step stained and impure. And I hear those voices still talking at me, the one that makes jokes of all the things I can't see. See, for a time I was wishing and waiting for dusk, for my ears to give home to the faces who sing, singing old songs no one's heard since the days of Redhorn. Old songs for old ghosts, who the old white man can't see, because the hand are just dead and gone buried. But no, not for me, but no, not for you, but no, not for your dearest remembered anew. I see through their skin, a pulse of time beating faintly, sun-kissed and thin, easily tearing again, as we listen to their stories winding and weaving of a long past and long tenderness they had. They'll be down for a while, and so will we, with me asking, why do I hear these things? Why do they talk? And why do they sing? And why are their faces on my ears laughing again? Why are they crying again? Why is there sorrow of the distant ones now waiting? Of course, they've been filled with a great sadness for so long, sloshing and spilling over the lips of their mouths, through the lids of their eyes, sobbing and shaking, trembling and moaning, until they hear from afar the distant one who they knew, that is now one distant voice on someone else's distant ear. Vocables that were drowned float now up to the sky, singing a song from another time, where the words don't mean anything anymore, and are only a tune taught to others to carry the ache, to carry the weight, to let us rest for a while in a bed of shared sound. Thank you.
Okay. I never say this about a man, but he tore. Next we have Erica Hunt, she, her, who is a poet and essayist. Erica?
Happy New Year. This is a great day. I feel very positive. I saw Zoran Mandani get inaugurated streaming. Whoa. Aspirational. It put a bounce in my boot. It really did. And there hasn't been a bounce for a while. I want to thank Jasmine, the staff, of course, of the Poetry Project. This is a lot of work. It's so worth it. It fills you with language, with song. It fills your spirit. It gives you the stuff to get through 2026 with bravado and courage and words and names. And as someone said, kindness. Still working on this creation summary. First day. The smell of gas. Could be nothing. Could be suffocating. Already it's colored. Already black, then less black, then white, smog. It's a mess to breathe it in. Still, but promising and thankless. Tomorrow's yet to be named. Tomorrow is yet to be named. We have no name. Second day, up, down. One side, then the other side. Take your choice. Which side do you stand on? It wasn't easy. We weren't 2 minutes into it when... Third day. And then it was morning, and then it was evening. How did we choose? This water from that water. Except one of us noticed there was handwriting on the water. There were words on water. There were words inventing water. And around that time, the story came into view. And after that, an invitation to swim in the story, apparently frictionless, but susceptible to misspelling and botched pronunciation, and the optical illusion that one's feet could touch the sand at the bottom of the water. No matter. We were in. We were in. Fourth day. I found it cramped laying there in the back seat. Night settled quickly in the blink of a curtain drop, and buildings shortened in diminishing sun, glowed briefly pale salmon fire before turning gray. Shade, shards sent shadows, and the street lined with dark houses lit up one by one as people let themselves into the hallway and switched on signs of life in the cocooned pools of domesticity. I watched from the back seat, wondering if it would ever be true for me to switch from staying in place to going home. 5th day. This is ancient history. And just a moment ago, love was hungry and moved the goalposts of love to suggest endurance. Even in death's stretch, love is not final. Edges overlap, meet adjacencies. A calendar unties the thread, and past actions change directions to face you. You finally catch on to what happened. We miss so many of the signs. The numbers spill uncaught. Our spirit rides. Our bodies rush past. A lucked spot suggests that love stumbling on its way has barely started. One last poem. The wind blows through my clothes, limp flags at rest, and cool-handed kissed flesh awake, close enough to stretch from stalk to stem, to heart unready, the spring's rhizome reach. I am she who swerves. I didn't see it coming. Say some, their heads fall in shared fate. I like the idea of azaleas, the hum of others' ideas, independent of low lows and high highs, their resilience in unpredictable weather. Spring rain, spring sun, spring gale, spring snow. I've learned you can't depend on what will be here one day to the next. But some have learned to wait, soil's rising temperature, prodding bulbs, elegant pierce, hard-packed dirt and tangled brack give way to messy margins. Wintered seeds evade gangster sweet-toothed squirrels. I have been yearning to practice the voice. A garden off-grid is certainly abandoned, yet fruitful within its gates. Life unconfined, undomesticated, yet calm. I felt the wind blow through me, a gale, cool and red-handed, coming close to me, reminding me that spring releases roots spiraling. We couldn't predict how it would come. It was unstoppable and unharnessed. Hush. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello? Okay. Thank you, Erica, Miss She Who Swerves. Next we have Don Yorty and Daniel Yorty. So Don Yorty blogs at donyorty.com, and poems he wrote in his 20s called Fucking and Other Poems will be published by Indolent Books in February 26, which February was historically Black History Month, but maybe we won't have it by then, so it'll just be February. Thank you. Here they are.
Thank you, Jasmine. It says here, kiss the mic, the closer the better, thanks, and then somebody's smiling. Yes, my book, Fucking and Other Poems, that I wrote in my 20s, is being published in February, and please come on the 4th of March. I'll be reading here. Okay, gonna sing a song. I'm gonna try to sing a song. It's called The Waters Work Song, and I wrote it when I was around 23, a couple of years ago. My love, I would tarry a while on your mouth, to lie here beside you is all that I want. But if I don't go build a house in the lane, we'll freeze when it snows and sneeze when it rains. A house you can make with much thought and sweat. To make a handshake is much harder yet. Much harder still is to live till you're dead. But the hardest is giving without wanting to get. I took my noon rest by a mountain stream, watched how the water touches all things as it splashes down among slippery stones, for frogs to jump in and skin to shine on. Poured from my mouth, it rolled my eyes, for birds who leave no trace in the sky, for Sir Rattlesnake crawling alone, and the winter weary foaling doe. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. A good one this year. A good one. Fuck Trump!
Thank you, Don and Daniel. Okay. Great. Good. Good. Come on. Come on. Good. Good. You guys aren't tired or anything, right? Like you're feeling good energy-wise. Okay, good. Good. Next we have Erica Kaufman. Erica Kaufman is working on Structural Panic. I hope she figures it out soon. Here she is.
Hey, everyone. Thank you to Nicole and everyone at the Poetry Project for this wonderful annual tradition. So this is from Structural Panic, which is a very long sonnet sequence, and I'm just going to read 2 sections. Structural Panic. Try to eat airspace, put body by the floor, play superb victim, less man than tube socks, streetlights. Today I feel like contact, dare you to define it, mink-like, yet unrecognizable, like missing, or a chance to wave off, badger-like. I scar easily, rather invent alter egos than truly become them, not as solution, but another possible public face. You say there's value in being permeable. I hear try to giggle from within monarchy, take up vulnerable photography, try to pass as forgiveness sprouts streamside, cautionary. Again, I know nothing about owls except they live here. Once the she-wolf leaves, it seems to get better, imagistically less fraught, though the descent turns anagrammatic. Even the hammock seems to be devolving. Describe where we are as bow-tied preamble inside this story of flowering plants, a true problem of schedule. The horn sounds, bicycle deflates. See my earliest loss comes steady enough, becomes durable, a kind of arming by fancy, cognizant of enchantment. Say sometimes I want to see the moon move, then check in with disappointment. Lumber through newness together. Voice fails at midway. Thank you and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, Erica. Next we have Matt Longabucco. Matt is actually a former curator of the Friday night reading series at the Poetry Project. So let's welcome Matt.
Hi, it's so nice to be here with you all in this magical room. Strange eruption. Jay says they're on the way to meet their friend who loves Hamlet and makes the group read aloud from it on special occasions. I half wish they'll ask me along. We're shrewd dissembling by cold torchlights, always on the verge of this time outwitting the trap. Only the day before I'd submitted a paper to the panel about the double, dooming myself to obsess for months to come about how ego splits almost imperceptibly, a transparency a hair out of register, and whispers in its own ear the dream novel of its half-distracted acquisitiveness. As Andrea Cavatelli puts it, surveying those 19th century cases who narrated their somnambulisms from within to baffle doctors, individual identity implies a scission and lacuna, since the pulsating center of consciousness is empty. So I notice, of course, when the interviewer asks the film critic about the personal in her writing, this again? What is this zombie category that will not die? And how many times will I have to smile and nod while someone tells me they don't abide it, as if it is not already absent because language by its nature cannot actually contain it, and at the same time present everywhere as the very form of the opening through which the double stalks its opportunity. Just say the name of a self is poverty, the Notley phrase I typed in my phone while chiaroscuro in the darkened sanctuary sculpted cheekbones and slopes of noses. And outside, what's good, man? What else? My brother in Christ, I do not know. Expect surveillance, assume menace at sea, despair about unfinished or not yet started projects, having pinned my exceptionalism on, you won't believe it, the convincingness of my desire as I experience it. Everywhere beautiful old faces try to pry open my consciousness before it's too late. What they don't tell you about failure is how much glorious shit happens to you anyway. Holiday grievances parade past an apartment complex where a single window is decorated with a string of those big glowing red and green bulbs. But which block? Which complex? Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Matt. Next we have my friend Wendy Lotterman, who is a writer, who is, yes. Come on, Wendy, we're asking for donations soon, so please come on. It's great for you to come. Wendy Lotterman is a writer who is, for some reason, based in Oslo.
Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to read 2 poems, one new, one old. This is new. It's called Just Us. We failed to register the details, had too much reverence for the signal, a flock of saints dressed as peasants, the beauty of clamor and paradox shot through the brutalized universe of mathematics and reduced to on or off. In the interim, there were trees, a mess of obstacles that solicited a strange choreography we only saw later in the playback. We swapped recitation for rehearsal, a unified vision for a field of noble gases. God itself became an aerosol, passed through surfaces and sex and close talking. We celebrated the ease of transmission, not worrying about the ease with which sickness would eventually seize the capital. We opened all the windows. Inside the protected tropical hallway, the mythically inflated arcade, traces of life on its way, ripping the perimeter of escape. This envy, no matter how theorized, eats and hurts and inflames. What issued from that unspeakably beautiful land route was 2 attachments to the future, 2 ways of reacting to food, autonomy, absence, 2 potencies, 2 rooms for which a third had to be made, a pocket in the wall. I came into it, then out. At a certain speed, this flutter between opposites is pleasure itself, the reason for flight, the necessary basis for day and night. We put too much trust in rubrics. We trimmed fat and fascia and play. We forgot the difference does not have to kill affinity. Tripping comes as no surprise. It was simple. A hook so good it left a gash in every lap around the rink. I caught her rearranging her time, the woman who made me. For that, apparently, everything. And this is called Delete to Receive. This is like 10 years old. Too fond of the things I've been taught to be fond of. Kind to bees and dogs off leash. An unnecessary custodian of the animals that surround. High, divided, wrong every time. Towing the insensate center toward the poverty of its original cause. That sex is how you got here and why you will eventually leave. Having remained technically aware but functionally blind in the meantime, for want of a different desire, unknown to the documented tastes of home and safety, ready and edible to the crowd that surrounds, alligators unable to give love but radiating a name you insatiably accept, as if it were good to take care of that imaginary life, or the resident consensus to whom it belongs, ignoring yours, clearing debris from a body of shame in which the legs will inevitably give out, leaving you to say yes to the resident angel who asks if you are drowning off the coast of your responsibly buoyant home, vomiting gold mesh amenities that can't hold your sequin dream as you wake up screaming, soaked through the cotton hoodie placed beneath your waist that belatedly refuses to save you as waste makes its way to the mnemonic bottom of the mattress, releasing your formerly invisible crush, now documented in the sheets, insisting on saving the life that remains as you continue to toss in only one of 2 ways, as each cheek expires, vacations, and returns to work on the double-sided face of a confession not yet ready to be made, promising to vacate the excess it holds by itself, mimicking the seasonal storage of fruits, hoarding the impossibly forested future like squirrels gone wild while arresting the wrong side of the sidewalk, bringing good lives to ground in the miscarried tragedy of bad recognition, missing your face for the trees that hold secrets and canopies of 3D leaves as we seek unseen immunity and idols beneath the least, most populated plaza, where gravel remembers the skin of your cheek, and the depression of rocks is a mnemonic loss as soon as we walk, commuting across those same streets among others unable to breathe, hoarding immunity, rolling through the space that remains of a not-so-distant cloud on the verge of maxing out, filled with variations of ordinary sunsets and faces too intimate for deletion, rising to the brim of its ability, unable to save anything beyond what it already contains, failing to testify to the face of this loss, dying of heat, but unable to join the hot spot as a moment of life or death passes from this off-screen, intentionally or accidentally ignoring the breach of a historical border between the secrecy of heat and the cold hostility of the street against which you feel each of your cheeks let go of the fruits that you keep, dying for a love you can't reach, too intimate to be deleted or freed, screaming in your sleep, meeting your brim, and then receding, intentionally or accidentally forgetting to speak or remember the rest of you as you rest very far from peace. Thanks, Jasmine.
Thank you, Wendy. So our next reader, how are you guys feeling? Good. Okay, our next reader is a lover, a student, a teacher, a writer, a reader, and a friend to many, including to me. And they actually introduced me to one of the most important and moving books I've ever read, which is by the Lebanese resistance fighter Sahar called Resistance, My Life for Lebanon. And that is my dear friend and a diva beyond gender, Sahar.
Thanks, Jazz. Here are a few things I know to be true. Lottie says to love without doubt is to fuck without desire. You only overthink when you go against your intuition. The most devastating thing about heartbreak is that it is not special at all. Standards protect your values. Fear protects your wounds. You can't look at the sun or death for very long. Josh says, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Heterosexuality is only good for capitalism. Nothing is not borrowed, and hunger doesn't compromise. Together we made this place, together we can leave it. M tells me you can't compete with time. Sadness leaks. Grief is a flood that runs through you and causes others to stand aside. To know the ocean is to recognize the teeth it keeps half hidden. Grief is love that has nowhere to be placed. Half of pain is memory. Life is short. Be with the person you love. Life is also very, very, very long. Be with the people you love. Sometimes your body changes and you don't remember your dreams. The absurd hero is the one who continues despite knowing the truth. The French for I miss you is tu me manques. It translates to you are missing from me. You are missing from me. I'm ravenous. I'm often possessed by wild and useless desires. You're not supposed to tell a story without first knowing its ending. I cannot tell this story because I do not know its ending. Here are the things I know. The first thing I knew about you was that you were leaving. The wanting only dislocates you further. Scientists are still not sure how eels reproduce, a fact that has kept them alive for centuries and is now causing their extinction. There's joy in hiding, but disaster in not being found. Taylor wants to know and be known. Ultimately, you do want to be found. You were right. I'm not proud of you. One can only lie to oneself for so long. Thank you.
Okay, so since we are in a church, I'm actually a Baptist, and I don't know, I feel like it's like ethnic enough in here to do this. Okay, saints. So, for our next reader is Garrett Devoe, who was born in Fort Huachuca, Arizona for only $8. He started singing in church as a kid for no money at all and has been subsequently chasing the cosmic divine ever since. Priceless. Please welcome Garrett Devoe.
I wonder if I should even comment. Yeah, I'll just go in direct. It has some effects, but we'll just do it. All right, kiss the mic. Hello. Happy New Year, right? This song, I'm gonna sing a song, and this song is for my friend Ethan McDonald, and he died recently, and he was a great guy, and he would have hated it here, actually. And I did see him here once, and he did not look very comfortable. But there's some similarities between Ethan and the Poetry Project, personally to me, and that's both really helped me find the New York that mattered. Like the Poetry Project is it's all these wonderful contradictions that make you feel at home. You know, it's messy, which is the antithesis of fascism. I think that's, it's like sexy and ugly. It's cool, but not cool at all. Most importantly, though, it's this big space. It's bigger when you get inside. Can you hear this guitar all right? I want a cigarette and a shot of everything that I ever let me feel oblivion. Oh, oblivion. I don't want your success. If I gotta be an accomplice, I'd rather redress and remain forsaken. Well, love is what I got. Love is what I brought. Like a sleeping Argonaut that has just been awakened. Oh. Waking.
All right, saints. God is good. And all the time. Wait, louder. Come on. God is good. And all the time. Okay. Remember, this is a fundraiser. So on the topic of tithes and offerings, if you turn to the back of your hymn book, there is a convenient little QR code. Please assist whoever needs help understanding how to navigate the QR code. And next we have Filip Marinovich. He composes lugubrious songs with visiting spirits like Clowncest, Bathtub Nebula, and Wolfman Librarian. And he's here at the piano.
Ah, the switch. Thank you. No matter what, I'm going to love Vivian. crayon. No matter how high, I'm gonna suck life with the bong of Vivian crayon. No matter what, it's kinky in the butt, this crazy life. No matter how low, you'll always find flow with a goddess, Vivian crayon. No matter how foo, I'm Piero Lulu. In school with Vivian crayon. No matter where, I'm werewolf in wolf hair with Vivian crayon. Yeah, I met Vivian not too long ago in the Zoom squares of ancient times. Yeah, we met in the later Zoomeolithic, and we smoked all of our lockdown dimes. And now we're parted by practicalities that smarted us apart to separate apartments in this pumping holiday heart. But we'll always be together in December's bedwetter weather. This you may be sure. Vivian and I were high life after life. When we met, we were dinosaurs. When we met, we were dinosaurs. Dinosaurs spectacular, beach-colored and bespectacled. Bet you've guessed by now, if you like to guess loud, we were librarian pterodactyls. We were librarian pterodactyls, Vivian, you know we were! I'm so in love, I'll never be silent, long as I draw blood with Vivian crayon. I'm so in love, I'm a singing basement flooding up with Vivian crayon. Drawing blood with Vivian crayon. Drawing blood with Vivian crayon. Drawing blood with Vivian crayon. Making love with Vivian crayon. That's enough with Vivian crayon. Never enough with Vivian crayon. Thank you. Matt Proctor on guitar.
Thank you, Philip. It was an interesting listening experience for me because my mom's name is Vivian. Next is Canon M.G. Lake, who is a teacher, a caregiver, love that, and a writer living in New York.
Thank you so much, and Happy New Year. I have one. It's called Distance is the Most Romantic Gift. Front row at the theater, there's a man softly crying, and the sad part hasn't even happened yet. I want to tell him it's just a story inside a story, how this new hell feels. Quick pink flash of fabric like an umbrella, my best curtsy. There isn't a tree big enough for us to lay our troubles under. If we could only get muscles around the neck of a day, I kept hoping all year long. I hoped like that, each day, a temporary place people go through to go somewhere else. The man curses, swears this one must be longer and heavier than those days before, which flew scary, bats chasing moths through fields of corn. Instead of the sky, as I have done, I thanked the millions and millions of angry people. It wasn't the first or last movie with this plot. Basically, all the prettiest actors lost in different supermarkets, waiting for friends to get over their latest honeymoon periods. The saddest dreams are the ones we won't give up, looking each other in the midriffs, thinking it takes a lifetime to die. Thank you.
Thank you, Canon. Our next reader is Lancaster, who is an experimental artist, writer, Aquarius Sun Moon Rising, and perhaps related to that, an aspiring Big Brother house guest. That was beautiful. Thank you. Next, Justin Allen, who works in music and sound, performance, visual art, and writing. Justin Allen.
Happy New Year. I've been writing a lot of new work that thinks about the intersection of race and class. So I'm going to be reading this new kind of critical persona poem called Black Gentry. Taking seriously my responsibility to represent and speak for an unprecedented identity, I navigate the city grid with an intentionality of academic and capitalist proportion. I must make of myself something more than anything I or my peers have seen of Black people before, in order to excel at business, in order to prove myself an expert at business, in order to master business and make money for stability, ego, and ancestry. Because once I excel at business, I will have mastered America, will have proven myself American, will have proven my qualifications in the field, and to my family, to a potential romantic partner, to marriage, to children, to my condos, my houses. This is what I got my education for, what I interwove alcoholism, etiquette, and all-nighters for, why I insist on the excellence of my work, lecture on the excellence of my work, remind you of the excellence of my work, of my condos, houses, vacations. This is why I must be handsome and beautiful, clean and handsome and beautiful, why friends brunch among white people and whisper of privilege, why I emailed my supervisor to address her tone, why I cross the world for leisure and adventure, because I excel at business, at accumulating accolades, and building a resume of colossal proportion. The goal, I proclaim, is to be colossal, to outsize the opposition, to outsize my peers, because the goal is forever the neighborhood up the block, a wardrobe just a few price points higher, the position just a bit more challenging to secure, because we are each other's kin in competition, whether a curator, a journalist, a marketing professional, an artist. Specifics flatten in the vicious race to abundance. We all attended pricey schools, worked brutal internships, endured doubt, snide remarks, past promotions, belittling, silencing, objectification, parroting, theft, bullying, racism to get here. It's our right and responsibility to prosper for the masses, to make hope for the masses, to inspire a belief in money among the masses, with our talents in business, because we exceed odds in business, because we prove with our homes, condos, vacations, cars, the supremacy of business. Taking seriously our right and blessing to carve out the self from the collective, we speak of us and we and our, because to become American, to be American, to live American, I must reemerge, we must elevate me, and I must exemplify and represent us. I must grab with enviable arrogance and humility the proverbial microphone, ascend classes to speak for all classes, for all underdog myths, for the struggle, for the streets. I must make hope from my darkness, and if anyone proposes another way, a way without commerce, accumulation, a way without excess as a God-given right, without condos, cars, competition, well then that, as they say, is none of my. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Next, we have Michael Bullock. Michael Bullock. Okay, I love everyone who didn't put pronouns. Like, just figure it out. Michael Bullock is a writer, editor, and documentary filmmaker. He is the author of Roman Catholic Jacuzzi from Karma in 2012 and the editor of Peter Berlin, artist, icon, photosexual from Damiani 2019, and co-editor of I Could Not Believe It, the 1979 Teenage Diaries of Chandelier from Semiotext 2023. Bullock serves as associate publisher of Pinup and the Whitney Review of New Writing, and is a contributing editor to Apartamento and Butt. Michael Bullock.
Hi, everyone. It's great to spend New Year's Day with you. 2026 observes the 30th anniversary of my first experience with online cruising. I wrote this for Matt Keegan's book, 1996. 1996, AOL chat room. Although it wasn't my natural inclination, I figured I shouldn't rule out heterosexuality without trying it. At 18, I was a Rhode Island School of Design sophomore, dating a charismatic, voluptuous girl from Wisconsin. Shawnee was infamous because her mother had once been a Playboy bunny, and she had the right combination of experience and aggression to get me to experiment with straight sex. We fucked often. After the newness wore off, I became jealous of her. I needed to get fucked too. AOL was my solution. I was a phone line teen, fully accustomed to blind encounters. The computer offered a radical breakthrough, seeing pictures of men before meeting them in person. The problem was that I didn't own a laptop. It took all my courage to use the campus computer lab to hunt for gay sex. I chose a Friday night when it was nearly empty. Armed with a Photoshop assignment as my cover, I waited until the final 15 minutes before choosing to log on. I cringed as the sound of the dial-up modem, that garbled noise seemed to shout, "Gay, gay, gay." I sank into my seat surprised. Online felt even riskier than the real world. Here, I could easily leave a public record of my private desires. Still, the promise of meeting men that I might actually be attracted to outweighed all fear. My first act of sexual branding was choosing my handle name, College Boy 98. That night, Providence had only one active gay chat room, M for M PVD. Far from being the virtual gay sex paradise I'd hoped for, there were only 3 users in attendance. Rhode Island _ Italian. Anyone looking on the west side, ? Professor Longabucco. Woonsocket here, ready for action. Urban Plan 30. Maribod tonight? ? With 5 minutes until closing, adrenaline hit. I went for it. College Boy 98. How does this work? ? Urban Plan 30. You're new here? ? College Boy 98. Yes. New to chat rooms, new to gay men. How old are you? ? Urban Plan 30. I'm 30. I'm in Providence for grad school. Urban planning. Professor Lowenhart. What's your age? ? College Boy 98. 18. Rhode Island _ Italian. Just the right age to start giving daddy head. College Boy 98. Urban Plan. Can I see your picture? Urban Plan 30. Let's take this to email. A message arrived instantly from denny.russo@aol.com. Attached was a photo, a shirtless tan torso, tight blue jeans. His face was crossed out with a Sharpie. Under it, he wrote, "I'm new to this too. Let's see what you look like." I'm definitely not sending you a picture. I swear I'm very fit. I was a champion high school wrestler. That sealed the deal. Cars, restrooms, steam rooms. The handful of homosexual interaction I had took place with anonymous men in public spaces. For me, gay sex could not be about relationships. It was always linked to the illicit. Pleasure, danger, and fear forever bound together. Denny offered me a new experience. Privacy. He had his own apartment and invited me over, unafraid. When he answered the door, neither of us held our excitement. "Wow, all right," he said, in a thick Italian accent. The idea of getting fucked by a guy I could actually relate to felt exotic. At 12 years my senior, he was younger and much more handsome than any of the closeted suburban dads I had been with. Then he stared at my lip. His expression changed. The start of a cold sore I hadn't noticed caught his attention, followed by a question I had never been asked before. "Do you know your status?" I'd never been tested. Tests were for fags. I wasn't a fag. I just sometimes had sex with men. The question broke the fantasy. Denny wouldn't kiss me and immediately put on a condom. We had quick, awkward sex, the kind had by people who are ashamed. Afterward, we laid naked, staring at the ceiling. "My question, it threw you, didn't it?" he said. "You're really young. You need to understand there are real consequences." He paused awkwardly, his tone growing more intense. My twin brother was also gay. Last year, he died from AIDS. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. We've arrived at our final reader for my hour. Next we have Belly Chorus, which is a vocal music community and laboratory in New York City open to all. They're dedicated to ensemble-led singing from folk, classical, experimental, and popular traditions. Belly Chorus.